Welcome back, Gathering Wizards. This is Ancient Magi, and if you're watching this, you know we're about to defeat challenge number 8 of Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013. This is actually a very difficult challenge, so it's very important that you pay attention to every step I take, and you need to also understand what each of the cards you have are able to do. For instance, Pure Steel Paladin is very, very key in this strategy. Every time an equipment enters the battlefield under our control, we get to draw a card. It's very important that you draw this card every time. Also, because we have 3 or more artifacts on the field, all of our equipment has a 0 casting cost, and it's also very important that you always use the 0 casting cost to equip all the artifacts you have on the battlefield. Alright, so what we're going to do to start off is we're going to cast this spell, Sculpting Steel. We're going to cast it on the Batterskull. The reason we want to copy the Batterskull is because it gives us lifelink. That's very key to the beginning strategy. Alright, draw a card. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take Batterskull. We're going to use the 0 equipment cost and equip it to this germ. Alright, another thing that's important to understand is that these are all living weapons. So when this challenge began, you already had a mortar pod on the field, and it's a living weapon. And every single time a living weapon comes onto the field, it creates a germ. And that's where this guy came from. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the mortar pod allows you to sacrifice any creature that it's equipped on. So we're going to take both of these germs, we're going to sacrifice them, and we're going to kill his creature so he can't block. Alright, next, let's take this mortar pod. We're going to equip it on the other germ. Now we started off with 1 life. We have 2 now because of Batterskull and its lifelink. Even when you sacrifice a creature, you still get that lifelink damage, and that's what's so important. The reason it's so important to get this life, see now we have 3 life, is because what we're about to cast now is Phyrexian Metamorph. It has a 3 casting cost and a Phyrexian blue mana, which means you can either use 1 blue mana to cast this, or pay 2 life to cast the spell instead of the blue mana. So we're going to cast it for 3 colorless and 2 life now that we have 3 life. We're going to cast it, and it allows us to copy any artifact or creature on the battlefield. So we're going to copy the Pure Steel Paladin. See, right now we can use his special ability, but he's arrested, which basically means we can't attack or block with him. So we need something that's, able to have all this equipment attached to it so we can attack. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually summon out Darksteel Axe. Again, we're going to be able to draw 2 cards. Okay. Then we're going to summon out not the Sword of Body and Mind, but the Sword of Feast and Famine. This is the one that we want, because this last ability is very, very important. Whenever our equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card, and you get to untap all the lands you control. You'll see how that's important in just a minute. Again, we're going to draw 2 cards. Okay, next we're going to do, we're going to take all the equipment we have, and we're going to equip it on the Pure Steel Paladin that is not arrested. Alright, so we're going to buff this guy up really, really high. Do a lot of damage with him. Alright, there we go. Now he has 17 power. Okay, so move to attack phase. Go ahead and attack with him. He's going to deal 17 damage and untap all the lands that we have. And because of lifelink, look at that, 18 life. Alright. So now, next, lay down the island that you drew. That's why it was so important to draw all those cards, because we need this island. Next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to take Repulse. Repulse allows us to return target creature to its owner's hand, and then we get to draw a card. Now, most people would think that, Repulse is really good to use against your opponent's creatures, which is true. But very, very often, it's good to be able to use against your own creatures as well. So we're going to repulse the Pure Steel Paladin that was arrested. That way, we can summon him back out again. So we're going to summon the Pure Steel Paladin back out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the copy of the Batterskull. Make sure that you choose the copy. The copy is always the one that has these white cards next to it. So we're going to choose that one, and we're going to return Batterskull to its owner's hand. So let's do that. The reason we're returning the copy is because it's not really Batterskull, it's Sculpting Steel. This card will allow us to copy another living weapon again, which is very important. So let's cast that. We are going to choose Mortar Pod. It's another living weapon, which is going to give us another germ. Draw the cards again. And there we go. Now we have our other germ. Now, because we've already passed our combat phase, and Odric still has 3 life remaining, we have to sacrifice all 3 of our creatures to do the 3 remaining life. So, let's start off by sacrificing the germ. Choose Odric. Then we can equip the Mortar Pod on the other Pure Steel Paladin. We will sacrifice him as well. Finally, this guy already has a Mortar Pod equipped, so we sacrifice him. And that's it. Alright, Gathering Wizards, thank you for watching, and come back to watch challenge number 9.